What's going on, traders? Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is July 14th, 2021. Please go ahead and click the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today we're going to talk about the price action in the headline indices. We're going to go under the hood and check out our sectors and style factors. And I think anyone that was trading today knows that there was a lot that went on under the hood that was not represented in the headline indices. So we're going to talk about all that. We'll go through some of my trades for today, and then we'll wrap up with options order flow. Before I jump into all that, quick risk disclaimer: nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account to any one of my trades. All right, let's jump into it. All right, so what do we have here? So box scores for today. S&P 500 is measured by the SPY, closed up 0.15%. We had the NASDAQ QQQ close up 0.18%. We had the IWM small caps close down 1.54%. And we had the Dow Jones close up 0.12%. So if we check out this S&P 500, what you'll see is we had a pretty big range throughout the day. And, we didn't close on the lows of the day. We did not close on the highs of the day either. We ended up with a green candle on this S&P 500. But you can see here, the top was definitely sold. There was some profit taking going on. And we were pretty much just bouncing around throughout the entire trading day. So I was not very active today. On a net basis, I took down exposure once again. And I feel like anyone that was trying to be overly active in this tape, unless you were catching things on the bottom, there were just so many opportunities to really get chopped up today. And you can see we're still a bit extended from this 20-day. The more and more we consolidate sideways, the more this 20-day will start to catch up to price. But for now, definitely a little bit overextended. And if we pull up the NASDAQ best performing index on the day, you can see we ended up closing up 0.21% today. Also, very similar thing. The highs were sold, and we closed with this, pretty small green candle here. One thing that was noteworthy for today's price action is in the morning. So we had Jerome Powell, chairman of the Federal Reserve. He testified before Congress today. So we had a lot of sound bites coming out from Jerome Powell pretty much throughout the entire morning. And the first thing that appeared, this morning it was all right, we're getting a little bit of a gap higher, nothing crazy. But Powell basically said, in a nutshell, we are not done printing this money. We're going to keep going. You ain't seen nothing yet. Now, he didn't say that, but pretty much he said, now's not the time to pull back. So he got, in my opinion, that is a super dovish statement compared to over the past couple months, everyone's been paranoid about tapering. And he basically said, we're not there yet. Don't worry about it. So right off the open, all the indices had this really, a push into the open. And then from there on the open, there was profit taking. And then, we bounced back higher, bounced back lower. It was definitely a really weird day. And I'm glad that, I kind of stepped back from the market today. Russell, you can see here, not a good close. To be perfectly honest, you can see the Russell closed down 1.6% as measured by this RTY. And I didn't even realize this before, but this is actually a lower low on the close than we even had last week. Let me see, what does IWM look like? Sometimes it's a little bit different when you look at the futures versus the ETF. Oh yeah, and I guess on the, so on the ETF, I guess it's basically the same. Anyway, that's just my little neuroticism there. But you can see a really poor close on the Russell. And at this point, maybe it's a little bit oversold, but I'm not rushing in to buy this group just yet. Maybe we'll get some weakness on the open. Maybe that'll present a bottom fishing opportunity. But the fact that we got so oversold, 1, 2, 3, 4 red candles in a row. And then it was okay, maybe, something will happen in the Russell. You never know. Maybe we'll break into value. But the fact that the bounce was so short-lived and basically sold into, that to me is saying, hey, maybe we'll explore a little bit lower, for all I know. So we'll have to see. Russell definitely got hit very hard today. And I think like if you are a stock trader, you trade individual names, pretty much like when this Russell just gets blown up, a lot of the individual names, let's say like canned slim traders traffic in, or just like growth stock traders traffic in, a lot of those are going to get hit as well. And you can see this Dow Jones finished up slightly, and we're still trading just at the top of value here. And then if we pull up our market breadth, you can see we closed negative on all of the indices. So this to me is just not a very conducive environment for trading to the long side. I don't feel like the deck is stacked in my favor. And if you watch yesterday's video, you'll know like I took down exposure yesterday. And, today I took down even more. So Finviz Heat Map, if we pull this up, you can see, so what's very interesting is, again, like if you were just long, like, oh, I'm long the SPY, you didn't really notice anything today. Index was up slightly, no big deal. But really driving this move, we had Apple up 2.41%. You can see some of these other mega names were up as well. Microsoft, Oracle, Google. And then we had the consumer defensive names that had a nice showing as well. Real estate, utilities. But there's really a lot of these defensive areas of the market that were bid. And then, you can see Tesla was down. Some of these other stocks, Facebook, Nvidia. So it was a very mixed bag today. And if we pull up our sectors, you can see our top sector in terms of momentum is now the XLK ETF, which is the FANG names. So if you look at some of these other groups, the solar stocks, which had been shaping up so well, like I actually thought the solar stocks, maybe they could do something here. They actually did. They were up about 30% off the lows. Yeah, you can see how if you buy with a poor trade location, really if you bought at any point in the last 2 weeks, now you're underwater on those solar stocks. So it really just goes to show with a lot of these growth areas of the market, always is the escalator up and the elevator down. And it just goes to show, like, if you are chasing these things higher as they get extended, a lot of times, just doesn't lead to a good result. So it's very tough. These things, when they turn very fast. So it definitely just goes to show, taking your targets, really not being greedy, always a good thing. So we had the TAN. What else do we have? You can see MSOS. This was one that I had a position in. And apparently there's going to be a bill that's going to be introduced by Chuck Schumer, in the near term. And so for me, like, I'm about as bullish as you can get on this sector. But even for me, I was like, this price action, it doesn't look right. When we have a bill coming out tomorrow, like something isn't right here. So I stopped out of my MSOS. Pretty early in the day when it was down, just ever so slightly. You can see this YOLO Cannabis ETF also down 4.34%. So I just noticed a lot of these different areas of the market really got the smoke. If we look at Upwork, I saw a lot of people mentioning this on FinTwit. And Upwork, this name looked like, yesterday it's like, oh my gosh, let's see if we can get a wick play here. We'll trade in the wick, see if it works, blah, blah, blah. And we had this move on some nice volume, and then today just sold off 17%. So if you're not using proper risk management, and if you're not willing to be wrong, and then just say you're wrong and take off your position, you likely just turn into an Upwork, long-term investor. So we'll see. But Upwork, a lot of these names doing the same exact thing. A lot of the names I stopped out of yesterday, really continued down, like Roblox. This one, I stopped out of this one for a nice winner yesterday. But yeah, Roblox, I was like, I just see like the probabilities not really being in my favor here. It looks like this thing could break down below here. And sure enough, we had just a really tough day. Now I'm in a position where I have enough cash where like, now I can start to think about where do I want to reallocate to, that sort of thing. And I love being in that frame of mind, because then when you see the red prices, you're like, all right, this is an opportunity. Like, let's get it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what shapes up. Whereas, like, if you are still in that mindset of like, no, I'm not selling, like, or whatever, you're seeing this red action and it's like, oh my gosh, like you're really, in a bad spot. I just know because I've done that before myself, plenty of times. So I'm not judging anybody out there, but that's just kind of how it can be sometimes. It be like that sometimes. Let's see. And you can see, these ARK funds had a tough time today. Energy as well, this XLE ETF, the SPAC ETF, and this one with SPACs as well, like this Blade. This was a name I bottom fished the last time all these SPACs just went into the gutter. Pretty sure I literally bottom fished it, I think on this day, like when it was bottoming. This is starting to look really nice for a very similar bottom fishing play, but we'll see. Blade. I hear my cat like whining in the background. And if we pull up our style factors, you can see there actually were a fair amount of style factors that closed green. Best performing style factor, oh my gosh. Best performing style factor was Minvol. So is that what you want to see when you're an active trader? I don't think so. I don't think Minvol is the, style factor we all want to be trading. That doesn't really seem right. And you can see worst performers were high beta and momentum. And I do think for most active traders, a lot of active traders, they're going to fall into those buckets in terms of the primary instruments they're trading. And then you can see, cyclicals also had a poor performance today. But best performers were international value and, international value, international momentum, and then, and then Minvol. So, kind of a very interesting day here. And if we pull up my trades for the day, I'm just going to reference this one more time. This is more so for myself than anything. So this is from Mark Minervini's book. In the stock market, you have the luxury of being able to stay on the sidelines, free of charge, observing and waiting for the most opportune moment to wager. You get to see the market's cards before you bet, free of charge. It's a wonderful advantage, yet few exploit it. So let's take a look right here. Pull us on my trades for the day. So this one, DocN, DigitalOcean, this is one that I'm very bullish on. And I had a starter position in DocN. I closed out of my starter for 50.83. I had paid 57.29. I just said I still like this name, and I think I might be able to buy it back cheaper down the road. So this one, I actually want to start doing a lot more research on the company, because this one, you can see, and I think this is really when I thrive. Like once all the technicals break down, and then all the technical traders, they're pretty much like flying blind. They don't know what's good and what's not. That's really when I come alive and start doing a lot of deep fundamental work. And I can get a feel for like, oh, what's that stock that I really want to buy? DigitalOcean, I think, is going to be one of those. But you can see it broke below the 20-day today. So not good. And because when these happen, like you would be surprised at how fast the liquidity just recedes from the market. How fast some of these names can go down 6% a day, 10%, 15%. It's really crazy. And the difference between, tidying things up and maybe exiting some exposures on, let's say, like Tuesday versus, if you hesitate and then you wait till a Thursday, in like 2 days, it could be like, oh my gosh, all my holdings are now down like 15% lower. So these down moves, they happen fast. I closed out my Amazon shares for a nice little winner. Nothing crazy, but about like $100 winner. I said I like Amazon, but I don't like the market here, folding my hand. And Amazon's one that, honestly, this one I probably could have just stuck with. But just in case, I didn't want to let the winner turn into a loser or something like that. And I closed out my AYRWF for 30.09. I paid 31.53. That's one where I do think I'll likely be able to catch this one for a little bit cheaper down the road. And then in terms of some options, I closed out my MSOS, as I had said earlier. Never fun, stopping out like this. But to me, it just goes to show, like this MSOS, I put this on like yesterday. This contract lost like 70 65, 70 cents in a single day. So to me, that's like, geez, that's where you just don't want to be exposed anymore. I did get long some Disney August 185 calls. That was early in the day. And I entered some SPY puts as well. So really, those are like my two new positions that I added on. But yeah, that was for my trading today. Now I feel so much more comfortable. Where it's like if the market spills or really not even if it spills, but if we just continue in this environment, like I started to feel like, geez, every day there's like one tiny group of stocks that's outperforming and all the rest are getting clubbed. And very often the group that's outperforming today is the group that's getting clubbed tomorrow. So it's like you buy in on the highs and then all of a sudden the next day you're just like done. And then you rotate into the other group and then that one's getting clubbed. Like, it gets very difficult. So this is something I'm trying to like add to my repertoire a little bit more. Like when you don't have that golden opportunity, you don't have to be there. So who knows? Maybe tomorrow we just like rip higher. I don't know. But I feel a lot more comfortable. And then real quick, we'll also pull up some options order flow. Yeah, and I just feel like I can be a little bit more objective as well. I can start looking at things like, oh my gosh, what stuff do I really want to buy? All that good stuff. And what the heck is this? Geez, I've never seen it do this before. The SPX bubble is so big. Everybody was loading SPX calls. Wow, that's interesting. Geez. Huh. These are like very deep in the money though. It's odd. And then if we pull up, you can see most of the flow. We had a lot of flow in the Qs, a lot of flow in NDX. One that's I don't normally see. You can see all the megas had a lot of flow today. Like Netflix, this one had a lot. Check this out. So this is probably something to look for in the future. Just keep an eye on Netflix. You can see, yeah. So a lot of these call options coming in, they're very cheap strikes. These are like stock replacement plays. Yeah, Netflix was one of those top performers today that was holding things afloat. Yeah, you can see closed well off the highs, but up 1.34%. Nothing too crazy. One that's catching my eye here is this EOG. I didn't see this one before. But EOG, I believe this is an energy name. Yeah, this one, had a rough day, kind of fell apart. Looks like some dip buyers were coming in to support this one. Yeah, that about does it for this recap video. Tonight I'm going to be doing some research and really just doing more like deep dives on companies, that sort of thing. I just want to make sure to, be patient with the market and just kind of see what it gives us. Some of these small caps, maybe they are starting to get to a little bit of oversold levels. So I'm going to start looking at those stocks. But yeah, I'm just going to try to play it cool and not do anything brash. Because at the same time as I look at this IWM chart, this could be making its way to the 200-day for all I know. So we'll have to see. I'll have to take it day by day. But I hope you all had a good trading day nonetheless. And I will see you all tomorrow.